Hola! How's that for an intro, huh? What's going on, guys? Welcome to this review of The Minions: The Rise of Gru. Yes, the movie I went out to see with my family this past weekend. Even though I told you guys I was not going to see this movie, didn't care for it, and that was true. Now, I like the Despicable Me franchise. I like the first one, I like the second one. I was around the right age to see those when they first came out. Then they came out with the Minions movie, and they took these little yellow guys from the first film and put them in the forefront. I didn't really care for that movie very much, to be honest. I thought it was okay, but it wasn't great. So when I found out that they were doing another Minions movie, I just kind of rolled my eyes, didn't really care. And now the Minions Rise of Gru is in theaters, and I've seen it. And what I will say that I liked about the Minions: The Rise of Gru was, unlike the Minions movie, the Minions are kind of put more in the background again, and the central figure, the protagonist that we follow, is a 10-year-old Gru. And Gru in this movie is dying to get into this arch villain league called the Vicious Six. Gru tries to audition from stealing from them, and when this results in Gru getting kidnapped, the minions have to go on a mission to try and save their master. The minions are funny sidekicks. That's how they were used in the first Despicable Me movie. But with the Minions: The Rise of Gru, they got that dynamic right again. Because with the minions going on this mission to save Gru and focusing on Gru as a protagonist this time around, that relationship between Gru and the minions is once again back again. It kind of retreads a little bit with Despicable Me 1, where we've seen them before, just him as a 10-year-old boy now, but it works. And I thought that it was a nice revisit, a nice refreshing throwback to that dynamic we got in the first movie. And when it comes to little baby Gru, 10-year-old Gru in this movie, once again voiced by Steve Carell, doing the same kind of accent, same kind of voice, but higher pitched up so that he sounds like a younger boy. It's actually really impressive. I thought Gru brought a lot to this movie. And what the Despicable Me movies are so interesting, because none of the people that we're following, that we're rooting for in these movies, are good people. They're all villains, they're all bad, and they're all openly proud of that. And what the movie is able to do is to have bad people versus bad people and have us root for the lesser bad people. And I thought that the Rise of Gru, the Minions Rise of Gru, did a really good job of doing that this time around. When it comes to kind of the slapsticky humor in this movie, the Minions are kind of like their own versions of silent film stars like Charlie Chaplin, just through their bodies and not really through their words or language. I think does make the Minions a very endearing group of characters. And I thought a lot of the slapsticky humor that they used with the Minions in this movie actually worked really well. Of course, there's some kiddie moments and some moments that only the kids in the theater are really laughing about, but this is a movie that's probably aimed around that 10-year-old demographic. And for that demographic, I think this movie works really well. If I did have a little bit of a downside for the Minions Rise of Gru, it's that there's a lot of different subplots going on within the movie. And there's one subplot in particular where the minions are learning kung fu to try and fight to get Gru back. And I felt like that part of the movie, that subplot, went on for a little bit too long. I kind of lost interest during that part of the movie. I thought the first act and the second act, when we're getting introduced to Gru and getting introduced to a lot of these elements that will later be seen in the other Despicable Me movies in the franchise, I thought all that stuff was really cool and set up actually pretty well. But when we got to that third act, I will admit that I started to get just a little bit bored. It was starting to lose my interest. And this movie is not a very long movie. It is only an hour and like 20 minutes long without credits. And yeah, it didn't hold my attention all the way through, but the kids in my auditorium were loving it. And this is the most that I've enjoyed a Despicable Me movie since Despicable Me 2. So I had a pretty decent time with the Minions: The Rise of Gru. If you're a big fan of the Despicable Me franchise, I would give it a strong recommend, especially for those kids. But if you are like me and you like the first, you like the second, but the Despicable Me movies aren't like your top animated movies as far as the whole franchise goes, I thought this was a pretty good return to form, and I would give the Minions: The Rise of Gru a weak recommend. I would give it a weak recommend. I don't think you need to run out and see it, but it is a decently enjoyable time. But what did you guys think of the Minions: The Rise of Gru? Have you seen it yet? Comment down below. Let me know. I want to know all your thoughts and opinions about this movie. Were you one of those people that stood up and started applauding as the movie ended, which then made all the other audience members in my theater decide to stand up and give this movie a standing ovation as well? My theater doesn't give applause or standing ovations for any movie, not even Endgame. So the fact that this is the movie where they decided to do that just kind of boggled my mind. But if you were one of those people, let me know down below. As always, guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video and checking out my channel. And I'll talk with you guys again real soon.